I want to play one more clip.
Okay.
Tim Wise, because it deals with how people of color think as opposed to people of what you guys call the dominant group.
Okay.
Privilege. Usually it works out pretty well. Because when you have that privilege of living in that bubble and you don't have to think about what you don't have to think about, remember, there may come a time when you have to think about it. When 9/11 happened, notice the different ways that white folks and folks of color by and large reacted. Everybody was scared. Everybody was angry. Everybody was upset. Everybody's freaking out. But now there were only some folks who went in front of microphones and said the following, and they were all white. Why do they hate us? Why? Why? Why would anyone hate the United States of America? I don't get it. See, people of color, they didn't say this.
That's right.
And it's not because folks of color hate this country, but folks of color have historically a love-hate relationship with the society.
Absolutely.
Loving certain things about it, hating other things about it. But here's the more important point. To be a person of color in this country is to always have to know what the other guy thinks.
Absolutely.
It is to always have to know what other people think about you, because if you don't, if you for 1 minute forget what other people might think about you, your life is in danger. But to be the dominant group is to have that luxury, or to think you do. To think you do. Of not having to care what other people think. Because you're the big dog. You're the top. You're the king of the hill. You don't have to worry about what other people think. That's privilege. You don't have to know. You can sort of laugh it off. At least we thought we could. We could have that attitude that says, well, you know, what are you going to do to us? We're big and bad. We spend $400 billion a year on defense, fool. If you come for us, we will bomb you back to the Stone Age. And if you're already there, we'll take you back to whatever the hell came before the Stone Age. Because we can. And then 19 guys with $37 worth of box cutters, $1,000 worth of plane tickets, and a pissy attitude pretty much said, okay, I'll tell you what. You spend your $400 billion a year on defense, and here's the deal. Me and my boys are bringing these buildings down anyway. How do you like us now? So privilege didn't allow us to see that the rest of the world doesn't view us the way we view us.
All right. Now, that goes back to what you and remember, Amber, you and I a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that OJ syndrome.
Yep.
Black people get that OJ syndrome. They think they have arrived. Mr. Obama thought that he had arrived, and I love the president dearly. But the man walked into that White House totally naive, thinking one thing and not thinking ahead of what was waiting on him. And he got that wake-up call.
Exactly.
So what do you think about that, sir?
Well, to end, positive thoughts, right? I think that if you look at this country, the history of this country, if you sort of go back to post-slavery, society has changed dramatically. When communication changes dramatically. And the Pony Express, the fireside chats, which is a radio, to the television debate of 1960 between Nixon and Kennedy, which is television, to the YouTube debate of 2008 between Obama and McCain, which is the internet. And now you have this dramatic change in communication with the internet and with mobile devices and things like that. And you have a wave of young people who are yearning to be post-racial. And we know we're not there yet, but they see it. They see maybe in our lifetime we could get past race. My nephew, who's my brother's child, is a beautiful, half black, half white child. My nephew is the future of this country. He's the color of his skin is what we all will look like in 20, 30, 40,
Absolutely.
50 years from now.
Because we get there.
So I see that, and we see that, and that's exciting. So when I talk, especially to young people, I say let's not look just at 4-year sort of goals. Let's look at 40-year goals.
Absolutely.
What is America going to look like 40 years from now?
Absolutely.
What do we want it to look like 40 years from now? How are we going? If in the spirit of the president, which was so, if we look back 4 years ago, which was so incredible, is that for a moment, just for a moment, for a few months, we felt like maybe we can make it in this country.
Maybe we have arrived.
Maybe we have arrived.
Absolutely.
And you're absolutely right about the president's political issues in Washington, but looking past the political issues in terms of who we are as a nation. I think what it's allowed us to do, especially young people, is to say, damn, it could happen in our lifetime.
Absolutely.
Because when I was a child, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, the only person in my vocabulary who could be the President of the United States who was black was Colin Powell, and that's because he was the only one we knew in a leadership position in the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at war in Iraq, and he was the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Mm-hmm.
Now a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old child, that's normal to them.
Absolutely.
A Latina on the Supreme Court with Sonia Sotomayor, that's normal to Latino children in this country as they're growing up. It's, we can be a Supreme Court justice, or if the president is in our reach.
Absolutely.
We don't know what that's going to do to our young people 10, 20, 30 years from now. So as white people, who are most of us are holding on and kicking and screaming on our way down.
Don't want to go into the future. Let's hold on to the past.
Right, and when a lot of us want to spew hate and say nasty things and whatever we got to do and talk about that the president is foreign and the president is this and no birth certificate and this and that. But for us who actually sort of want to embrace this new America, I think it's our job as white people to have these conversations amongst ourselves and challenge each other and say, wait a minute, when a young black kid is killed or 53 people, I did a blog a couple of weeks ago called 53 white people shot in Chicago in one weekend. Right? Now, just imagine that. We all, we're not going to be rocket scientists to know
the National Guards.
The National Guard, the schools will be closed, and every block, whatever checkpoint, the president will make a statement and be a state of emergency. But 53 black people are shot in Memorial Day weekend in Chicago, and it's the next day we forget about it.
Well, it's like,
that's
there
right.
they go again.
Here we go again. So I want to use my 4 Twitter followers and my ability to go on the radio a few times and go on television a few times to challenge my people. And I don't look. I don't come from wealth. I come from a working upper middle class family. So there was very little in terms of my there was nothing given to me in terms of my profession and what I do now, except the privilege of being white and not having a glass ceiling.
All right. Well, look, we have a caller, and I think it's Ty. Ty, you want to chime in on the conversation today? Please. Let's hear what you got to say.
Hi, it's a pleasure to be on air, and I just wanted to say a special note. I am Amber Allison's daughter.
Okay.
And I really appreciate, the conversation you all are having, and I myself am an interracial American, and what you guys are talking about right now is how the country, is going to look in a few decades from now is exactly where my head is at too. I'm 30 years old, and I guess you could say I'm kind of I'm the young on the younger side, and I think with my generation and those that come after me,
yes,
interracial people, and just kind of looking at America in a more multicultural sense, I think that is more of our norm, and it's going to continue to be, just as you're saying. I was just telling my hairdresser yesterday, we were talking about interracial people, and and how it's becoming more and more popular. And I said, I always say, the more the merrier. I said, let's just mix it up. Let's mix it up.
Absolutely.
And when everybody is some of everything, then it's going to really force people to have to come to reckon with the fact that we're all human.
Absolutely. To deal with the realities of being a human being as opposed to being a certain kind of human being. Exactly. Absolutely.
Exactly. So it's really sad that, there's so much division with, by the color of your skin, by what race you claim, and this and that. But as time is moving on and more people are breaking those barriers and, interracial marriages and couples and things like that, I think that, as you guys are saying, we are on that path because, one day, and even today, I mean, like you're saying, it's your sibling, it's your niece, it's your nephew, it's your grandchild that's mixed with something that, you know, maybe you didn't know anything about or could have cared less about, but now it's in your family. What are you going to do about it?
Absolutely.
How are you going to carry on that racism, or are you going to embrace that child and love them irregardless of where their parents might be from?
Well, I tell you, Ty, it is a pleasure to hear from you. Amber, I think you did a wonderful job. I'll talk to you about the job you did. All right. We are back. This is what I want to do. I want to kind of shift the conversation from what we were talking about. Well, we'll keep it in that same genre. But what I want to do, since he's calling us from New York, which is the melting pot of America, because you got everybody there, give us your assessment, sir, on how you feel New Yorkers feel about President Obama and the job that he has done and what he seems to have to finish doing in the future, providing he get the extra 4 years.
I think we feel really good. I think the president, what he's accomplished is tremendous, given the stakes he was up against. I think when he came into office, I think no one understood how bad it really was, and it took a while to figure that all out. I think if you look at his accomplishments and what he's done in the past almost 4 years now, they're absolutely tremendous. I have personal connection to the healthcare. Affordable Health Care Act, just because of my own, family and what that does for my own family in terms of pre-existing conditions for young children. As I say to a lot of people, what we don't understand about pre-existing conditions for young people is that because of the way our healthcare system was set up, they can never dream. They can never live the American dream. They can never do what I've done in my entire life, which has been entrepreneurial and an artist. And they'd have to always have a job that would guarantee them health care. They could never go out there and try it on their own without having health care. So now my girlfriend's sister can dream. And can live an American dream, which we're all thankful for. So, we got a good fight ahead of us. In this election. However, I believe what's more important than just the election is what we're going to do in the next 4 years. I look forward to immigration reform. I look forward to education reform. I look forward to ending the war on drugs and really, really, really changing what I believe is what's destroyed Black America is this war on our own people that has failed miserably.
Absolutely.
So I really admire the president and his administration. Behind closed doors, I could say that we have a lot of work to do, and I always challenge even those I agree with to do more. So I think he has a lot of work to do, and I look forward to going to work for him.
I wanted to ask a real quick question too, because we, sir and I, and Black people know how Black people who are not Republicans, we know what they think of this man, but I wanted to know what you hear white people say or think about Clarence Thomas.
Yes, good question, Am.